Alright there, geezers, Jules here from FGS, home of the Future Game Show. And you know what? When I'm not hunched over a Warhammer table trying to drown my opponent's models in salty tears, or trying to forget that moment the other day when I saw my next door neighbour naked and he saw me naked, just let it go, Jules, just move on from it. Me and my partner love to settle down, get the cats, cuddle all the way around us, get the blankets on, and turn on some trashy TV to while away the evenings. It's cold here in the UK. There's not much else to do. Kitchen nightmares, bar rescue, married at first sight, all utter garbage, but all uniquely entertaining. Yet today, my friends, we're going to be looking at the cream of the crap, of the TV shows that spawned outstanding video game experiences that prove that not all licensed games have to be an experience about as enjoyable as doing the backstroke through a skip full of used needles. Yet every good show needs a supporting cast, so that's why I've roped in Nathan and Tom, who I'm hoping that Kayla has actually edited to my left and right respectively, or my right and left, or your left and right. Oh no, I've done the mirror flip thing and I don't actually know which one you see. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that we're forming the Three Stooges, version 2.
If we're doing a reboot of the Three Stooges, can I shotgun Curly, please?
And so with this in mind, I'm Jules, this is Nathan, this is Tom, and these are the best video games based on TV shows ever. Number 5, motherfucking DuckTales. Now I can't think of a better time in my life than Saturday mornings around the age of 7, where I'd rush downstairs, pour a bowl of cereal that may as well have been pure sugar with food colouring poured into it, slam the TV on and go on the acid trip that was Saturday morning cartoons. Street Sharks, the Raccoons, Gargoyles, fucking Reboot, and so many more were piped into my eyeballs and rotted my brain with an overstimulation of colour and violence. And when these weren't on, there were the classic cartoons to enjoy instead. The Snorks, Sharky and George, and of course, motherfucking DuckTales! This TV series was such pure gold that Scrooge McDuck made plans to hoard it within his vault and deprive the world of its greatness, but, much like its supremely catchy theme song, it simply could not be denied, and its success led to one of the finest examples of 2D video game platforming in the vein of DuckTales for the SNES. And while I could, and probably should, wax lyrical on how this game looked utterly fantastic, had gameplay as tight as Nintendo's refusal to let first-party games ever be sold for less than 50 quid, and of course, got a sublime remaster a few years back, I'm not gonna do that. And you wanna know why? Because this is the Deep Cut with Jules Gill, baby! So of course I'm gonna be talking about obscure games. You thought that just because I roped in my friends to help me with this list that I'm not gonna get a deep cut or two into the mix? Come on. Come on, DuckTales, that's so obvious, man. So instead, what we're going to be talking about is another duck-based game for the Super Famicom that is called Donald Duck, No Mahou, No Bushi. Oh yeah, we're getting weeby up in here, my friends. So this game, also known as Donald in the Magic Cap, was developed for the Super Famicom in 1995, but never got a release outside of Japan, which is a true shame because this game is bloody awesome. Taking up the mantle of El Don over here, players start their journey trying to earn enough money to buy Daisy a new hat, which is just so very wholesome. Yet, before you think that this is going to be a yawn-inducing chore fest, the game quickly mixes things up by transporting our feathered foul-mouthed friend to a magical kingdom where the action and wonder ramp up considerably. In terms of presentation and level design, Plucky Ducky and the Magical Bonnet is right up there with DuckTales, and that soundtrack, it's absolutely banging. Seriously, Kayla, play the final boss music right here, and I will jam out appropriately, as long as the music doesn't get copyrighted. 3, 2, 1... She's not put the music in again, hasn't she? Fantastic. Cool, thank you, Kayla. Seriously, the music should be like in a Final Fantasy game, it's that good. Plus, the game ends with Donald singing to Daisy, which is both equally excruciating and also bloody brilliant. So honestly, what more could you want? Yes, DuckTales is amazing, but so is Donald Duck, No Mahou, No Bushi. You won't believe how many times I tried to say that name correctly, and I've probably still got it wrong. Number 4, Simpsons Hit and Run.
Ah, the Simpsons Hit and Run. Remember those days? The good days, I like to call them. The days when a huge family-friendly property could playfully subtitle itself with a term for vehicular manslaughter. Aw. Days I hope we'll see a return to very soon, because I'll let you into a little secret. I've just finished pitching a brand new video game with the working title Bluey DUI. So fingers crossed you'll be playing that sometime next year. You know, it's easy to see why people still love The Simpsons Sit and Run, because for a lot of us, Springfield was like a kind of televisual second home. You know, and when Grand Theft Auto 3 came out and kind of revolutionised gaming, the tabloids and the media, they focused on the violence and the controversy, and, you know, fair enough. But really, I think for a lot of gamers like us, what we were obsessed with was the freedom of it, you know, not being stuck in a linear level from beginning to end anymore, but being just kind of let loose in this world, allowed to go anywhere and do whatever we wanted. So it was really smart, I think, of Radical Entertainment to kind of look at The Simpsons, then look at Grand Theft Auto and say, well, what happens if we kind of put those two formulas together and give players the chance to explore a world they know very well, but in a way they've not had a chance to before? I mean, you know, unless you had a computer that was powerful enough to run Virtual Springfield, which... a curious title, really, when you look at it, which basically like spending money on a fictional version of Google Maps. Honestly, I don't know what we were on in the 90s, man, but we bought some strange shit.
Number 3, Squid Game VR.
Arguably, the most popular TV show of all time is Squid Game, and we're here at Sandbox VR to actually test out the VR game they've got of it. You've got red light, green light, and the Class Stepping Stones game. It's going to be fantastic.
But Tom, I hear you cry. I'm a child of violent computer games, TV that has warped my soul, and movies that have made me dead to any emotion. A game such as this wouldn't entertain me unless my life really was on the line. Well, that's where you're wrong, my friend. You see, this game is uncannily real, and they've nailed making the spaces feel huge, which is great for immersion, but also making you feel like there's a circus mid-performance in your belly anytime you're above a great height. Having to also step out onto a glass panel where you can look down at your failure as you plummet into the abyss gets your heart racing more than a Red Bull espresso cocktail. Mix in another 5 mates to compete against, like you're teenagers again fighting over Smash Bros or Mario Kart, and I don't care how dead inside you are. This VR experience gets really fun really quickly. Unfortunately, when it got down to the final 2, we weren't dropped a virtual knife each to start shanking each other to see who came out on top. We had to dance instead. How depressing.
Number 2, South Park: The Stick of Truth.
For years, developers tried and failed to make a good South Park game. What if it's like a first-person shooter? No. What if it's like a kart racer? No. What if it's like a weird quiz show with kind of strange sexual undertones? No. It took a while, but in the end, Obsidian Entertainment came along, who were famous for Knights of the Old Republic 2 and Fallout New Vegas, and they gave us the South Park game we wanted. A game that looked and felt like the show. And by that, I mean kind of looks like shit. Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the creators of South Park, are both big gamers themselves, and they decided that with the Stick of Truth, it was time to get involved. So they were there, working alongside Obsidian Entertainment, helping write the game, helping produce it, and I think that really shows because it just feels so authentic.
That was the most perfect throw I've ever seen.
My favourite detail about the Stick of Truth, though, is that this was the first time Matt and Trey had to sit down and work out the actual map of South Park. Like, what went where? Where is Stan's house in relation to Kyle's? Where is Kyle's house in relation to the school? Where is the school in relation to the sewer where a Christmas feces lives? And I think in the seasons of the show that came out after the Stick of Truth, you could really see that had worked its way back into the show. It felt like there was a kind of physical cohesion in terms of locations that hadn't been in the show before. There's no jokes here. Literally, it's just a fact that I like. Sorry, sometimes it's just facts. There's not always jokes. Apologies. Alright, is it the best game ever made? No. Is it the best RPG ever made? No. Is it the best game based on a television show? No. That has to go, obviously, to The Sopranos on PS2. But the Stick of Truth always sticks in my mind whenever I think about writing in video games, because this isn't the best game in terms of gameplay, but it's mad to me how fresh and inventive it feels just by having some talented writers at the helm. And it's funny, it makes me laugh, and there's not a lot of games that can genuinely do that.
Please tell us thy name. You introduced that, is that correct?
Bonus points to the first person shooter though, because your default weapon was snowballs that you could power up by peeing on them. Now, there'll always be debates about whether virtual violence leads to real-world violence, and I think it's an important debate to have. But I can, with 100% certainty, say that these virtual urine-soaked snowballs did indeed lead to folk in the real world receiving a pishy snowball to the face, and that was because I threw them, Your Honour. I was that pishy snowball thrower. And I regret nothing.
And number 1, Golden Knight Caro. Branding. Now I know what you're thinking, Jules, you very, very handsome rat. What are you doing? Are you just putting in another entry on an obscure game just to flex your gaming knowledge? Yes, I f***ing am. I've been on YouTube since 2016. I've done every single f***ing list possible, mate. Give me this. I want to talk about new games. And trust me, when it comes to Caro and its PS2 video game Golden Knight Caro, you'll be glad I took the less travelled road, as this combo right here is bloody amazing. So what is Caro? Well, friend, my cat's just scratching at the door now. Can you hear that? So what is Caro? Well, friends, it's basically if Power Rangers was crossed with The Boys and had the melodrama of Supernatural. I know, right? And making things even better was the PS2 video game Golden Knight Caro, which is basically all of this, but filtered through the lens of Devil May Cry. I know, right? What this translates to is an outstanding action game filled to the brim with flashy over-the-top moves, wacky boss battles, and a real focus on making the battle arenas themselves the star of the show. Here you'll fight on collapsing buildings, working train yards, and of course, Demon Cube Land! Ah yes, that reminds me, I must book my holiday to Demon Cube Land. This game looks great for a PS2 title and is jam-packed with details, plus because of its focus on action spectacle really captures the tight choreography that the TV counterpart was famed for. So if you're looking for a superhero video game with a bit more edge and a whole bucket load of style, you can't do much better than Golden Knight Caro. Thank you for letting me talk about this game. I say that like they've got a choice. Dun 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 diddly doo dang. Right, and there we go, my friends. Those were the best video games based on TV shows ever. I hope that you enjoyed that, and I want to say a special thank you to both Nathan and Tom for helping me curate this wonderful list of curios. Now, if you want to chat to us on the social medias, you can do so following me over here. Nathan and Tom have been added in as well, and you can follow my amazing editor Kayla here as well. Please do so because she is very, very lovely indeed. Now, before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we spoke a lot about TV shows and video games and stuff, you know what else matters more than both of these pieces of entertainment? You, my friend. Yes, you watching this video. So treat yourself with that love and respect because you bloody well deserve it, alright? And do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise. You are a massive legend. You are the star of this show and you bloody well deserve everything good in life, alright? So, with that in mind, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.